Hey people, get ready to crush everyday IELTS and CELPIP tests for all modules and make your dreams come true. I'm your motivator and I'll be guiding you through the test prep videos. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or you'll be missing out on some serious preparation.
Section 1. You will hear a woman calling a hotel to make a reservation for a conference. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 10.
Good afternoon, Thornfield Manor Hotel, reservation speaking. How can I help you today?
Oh, hello, good afternoon. I'm ringing to inquire about making a booking for a conference. I wasn't sure whether to go through the website or call directly, but, well, here I am.
You've done absolutely the right thing. It's much easier to sort the details over the phone. Could I start by taking your name, please?
Yes, of course. My surname is Hargreaves, that's Hargreaves. And my first name is Patricia.
Hargreaves, lovely. And are you booking on behalf of a company or organization, Ms. Hargreaves?
That's right, yes. I'm with Meridian Solutions. We're a management consultancy based in Bristol. It's for one of our annual client conferences.
Meridian Solutions, got that. And what type of space are you looking for? Do you have something specific in mind?
Yes, we'd need a conference suite, ideally. Somewhere with a proper presentation setup and enough room for delegates to move about comfortably. Nothing too cramped.
Absolutely. Our conference suite would be perfect for that. And roughly how many delegates are you expecting?
We've had the RSVPs come back and it's looking like 48 people altogether. Could be 49, but let's say 48 to be safe.
48, right. That's well within capacity for us. Now, do you have particular dates in mind?
We'd like to arrive on the 14th of September, so the 14th September, and we were thinking 3 nights. So checking out on the 17th.
The 14th of September, 3 nights. Let me just check availability on the system. Yes, that's all looking good for you. Brilliant. Now, shall we talk about catering? Do you have any requirements there?
Yes, actually, that's quite important to us. We'd like a buffet lunch provided each day. Our delegates do prefer something informal. It gives them a chance to network rather than being seated at a table.
A buffet lunch each day, noted. Very popular choice for conferences, I must say. Is there anything further on the catering side, or does that cover it?
No, I think that's all for food. We'll sort out teas and coffees ourselves during the breaks. Thank you.
Of course, not a problem. Now, in terms of audiovisual equipment, will you be needing anything set up in the room?
Yes, we'll definitely need a projector screen in there. We're bringing our own laptops and a presenter clicker, so we just need the screen itself and we'll be sorted.
A projector screen, understood. We'll have that all set up before your arrival. Is there anything else you'd like to flag? Any special requirements at all?
Actually, yes, and this is quite an important one. We'll need wheelchair access throughout the venue. One of our delegates uses a wheelchair, so it really is essential that everything is fully accessible, the suite, the dining area, all of it.
Absolutely. Wheelchair access, noted. I'm pleased to say our conference suite is on the ground floor and all our public areas have full step-free access, so your delegate will have no difficulty whatsoever.
Oh, that's very reassuring to hear. Thank you for checking.
Not at all. Now, to secure the reservation, we do require a deposit. It's 10% of the estimated total. How would you like to pay that?
I'll put it on a credit card, if that's all right. I have the company card here.
A credit card is perfectly fine. I'll take those details in just a moment. So, to confirm everything back to you, Meridian Solutions, Patricia Hargreaves, arriving 14th of September, 3 nights, conference suite for 48 delegates, buffet lunch daily, projector screen, and wheelchair access throughout. Does that all sound correct?
Yes, that's spot on. You've got everything. I'm very pleased with how straightforward that's been, actually.
Wonderful. We'll send a full confirmation to your company email address once the deposit is processed. We very much look forward to welcoming Meridian Solutions to Thornfield Manor.
Lovely. Thank you so much for your help. Goodbye.
Our pleasure, Ms. Hargreaves. Have a great afternoon. Goodbye.
That is the end of section 1. You now have some time to check your answers to section 1. Section 2. You will hear a tour guide describing a local heritage museum and its exhibits. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 20.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hartfield Heritage Museum. My name is Caroline, and I'll be your guide today. Whether this is your first visit or you've been here before, I hope you'll discover something new about our remarkable local history. Let's begin with a brief history of the museum itself. The Hartfield Heritage Museum was originally founded in 1894, not, as many people assume, in 1887, when the local historical society was first established, but 7 years later, when this very building was purpose-built to house the growing collection. It has welcomed visitors ever since. As we step inside, the first gallery you'll encounter is our agricultural gallery, here on the ground floor. This space is dedicated entirely to local farming and agriculture, the tools, traditions, and seasonal practices that shaped rural life in this valley for generations. Some visitors expect to find Victorian machinery on this floor, but I can tell you that our industrial exhibits are housed separately upstairs. Moving up to the first floor, I'd strongly encourage you to spend time in the textile room. The centerpiece of that gallery is our collection of working looms, some of which date back more than 150 years and are still fully operational today. You'll actually have the opportunity to watch a live demonstration later this afternoon. Just next door to the textile room, you'll find our Victorian schoolroom. This is the museum's most recently restored exhibit. The restoration project was only completed 3 months ago, and it faithfully recreates what a typical classroom looked like in the 1870s. It has already proven extremely popular, particularly with visiting school groups. Now, for those who'd like a more structured experience, we offer free guided tours of the entire museum every Saturday morning, beginning at 10 a.m. sharp. There's absolutely no need to book in advance, simply arrive at the main entrance before the tour starts and join the group. I'm also very pleased to share some exciting news about our future plans. Next spring, the museum will open a brand new permanent gallery. It will be dedicated entirely to the history of transport in this region, tracing the story from horse-drawn carts right through to early motor vehicles. We're all very much looking forward to it. Let me now draw your attention to a few of our key facilities. The archive reading room, located at the rear of the ground floor, gives access to our extensive collection of historical records, documents, and original photographs. However, please be aware that this facility is only available to museum members. If you're interested in joining, membership forms are available at the front desk. The gift shop, which many of you will have passed on your way in, has just undergone a complete refurbishment. It now carries a significantly wider range of heritage-inspired products, from handmade ceramics to illustrated local history books, well worth a browse on your way out. For those of you visiting with very young children, I'd especially recommend the Children's Discovery Zone, also on the first floor. It has been specifically designed to be suitable for young children, featuring hands-on activities, tactile displays, and interactive storytelling stations. And finally, our outdoor heritage garden is open this afternoon, though I should mention that it is only accessible on selected days throughout the year, so you really are in luck today. It's a tranquil space and a wonderful spot to explore once you've taken in the indoor galleries. Right, I think that covers the essentials. If everyone is ready, please do follow me and we'll make our way into the agricultural gallery to begin. This way, please.
That is the end of section 2. You now have some time to check your answers to section 2. Section 3. You will hear 2 students discussing their group presentation on renewable energy. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 30.
Right, so we need to go over everything before Friday. Are you happy with how the presentation is shaping up overall?
Mostly, yes. I think the structure is solid. We're comparing solar, wind, and tidal energy, which gives it a clear focus rather than trying to cover the whole field.
Agreed. And we've got 20 minutes for the whole thing, so timing is going to be critical. We can't afford to overrun.
Exactly. I timed my section yesterday and it came to nearly 8 minutes on its own. We'll need to trim somewhere.
Let's start with the introduction. I've been thinking we could include a short video clip at the start, something visually striking about climate change, just to hook the audience straight away.
That could work well, as long as it's under 90 seconds. What about the literature review? How did you get on with that?
Honestly, the literature review took longer than planned. I thought I'd get through it in a day, but there were so many relevant papers. It ended up taking me nearly 3 days.
I had the same problem with my part. And the wind energy section was especially tricky because we kept finding conflicting figures from different sources. I genuinely didn't know which set of statistics to go with.
Yes, I remember you mentioning that. We settled on the International Energy Agency data in the end, which I think was the right call. They're the most widely cited.
Good. Though I do think the tidal energy section still needs more research. We've only really covered the basics, and I'm worried the examiner will notice the gap.
I agree. We should try to add 2 or 3 stronger sources before Friday. And while we're reviewing things, dividing the workload between the 3 of us was honestly the most challenging part of the entire project. Getting Marcus to commit to a section was a real headache.
Absolutely. It took nearly a week of back and forth emails before anyone agreed on anything. I think next time we need to assign roles on day 1.
Sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to pop in and see how you're both getting on. Is there anything you'd like some guidance on?
Actually, yes, Dr. Evans. We're just working through the final structure. We're a bit unsure about the conclusion.
Good timing, then. My strongest piece of advice is to make sure you link your conclusion back to the aims you stated at the beginning. That circular structure is what examiners look for. It shows the presentation has coherence and purpose.
That's really useful. I'll rework the conclusion slide tonight to make sure that connection is explicit. Oh, and one thing I noticed during our rehearsal, the graphs could be made a lot clearer. Some of the axis labels are far too small to read from the back of the room.
You're right. I'll increase the font size and simplify the color coding. We probably used too many colors on the bar charts.
Yes, visual clarity is essential. How did the practice run go last week, by the way? I heard you had a small audience come in.
Actually, the audience feedback was better than expected. We were quite anxious going in, but people said the content was engaging and well organized. A couple of them stayed behind to ask questions.
Yes, I was genuinely surprised. The questions were really thoughtful as well, which suggested the audience had followed the argument throughout.
That's very encouraging. Just keep refining the visuals and watch your timing, and I think you'll do very well on Friday. Good luck to you both.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. We appreciate you stopping by.
Right then, let's go through the slides one more time and make a final checklist of everything that still needs fixing.
That is the end of section 3. You now have some time to check your answers to section 3. Section 4. You will hear university lecture on how the human brain forms and consolidates memories. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Today's lecture focuses on one of the most compelling areas of contemporary neuroscience, how the human brain forms and consolidates memories. Memory is not a single, unified system, rather, it is a complex, multi-stage process involving distinct brain regions and molecular mechanisms working in concert. By the end of this session, I hope you will have a much clearer picture of what happens from the moment you first encounter new information to the point at which that information becomes a durable, lasting memory. Let us begin with encoding, the first and most fundamental stage of memory formation. When we experience something new, specialized cells called neurons become active and transmit information using electrical signals that travel at extraordinary speed along their axons. The strength and durability of any given memory depend heavily on what neuroscientists call synaptic plasticity, that is, the capacity of the connections between neurons, known as synapses, to increase in strength each time they are activated together. A core principle here is that neurons which fire together eventually wire together, forging more efficient pathways over time. Crucially, research consistently shows that the degree of attention paid to a stimulus is the single most important factor in whether it is successfully encoded at all. If we are distracted or disengaged, information simply fails to register with any meaningful depth, regardless of how many times we encounter it. Once information has been encoded, it must undergo a process called consolidation before it can be stored reliably over the long term. Central to this stage is a small, seahorse-shaped structure in the medial temporal lobe known as the hippocampus. The hippocampus acts as a relay station, temporarily holding and organizing newly encoded memories before directing them towards permanent storage elsewhere in the brain. Sleep plays a particularly powerful role in this process. During sleep, especially in the deeper slow-wave stages, the brain spontaneously replays recent experiences, and memory consolidation is greatly enhanced as a consequence of this nocturnal rehearsal. Over weeks and months, as memories are repeatedly reactivated, they gradually migrate away from the hippocampus and become embedded in the neocortex, also referred to as the cerebral cortex, where they can, in principle, be retained indefinitely. This migration is precisely what allows us to recall vivid autobiographical events from many years in the past. Now, not all memories are encoded with equal fidelity. A well-established finding is that memories with a strong emotional component are encoded far more deeply than neutral ones, and this occurs because of the amygdala, a small, almond-shaped structure that sits adjacent to the hippocampus. When an event provokes a significant emotional response, the amygdala essentially flags that experience as biologically important, amplifying the hippocampal encoding process. This is also why the German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus found that, without any active review, up to 80% of new information may be lost within 20 minutes of first encountering it. This steep decline in retention, famously illustrated by his forgetting curve, underscores just how vulnerable freshly encoded memories are in the absence of deliberate reinforcement. Two additional factors are critical for understanding memory capacity. The first is chronic stress. Prolonged exposure to stress and the associated elevation of the hormone cortisol have been conclusively shown to damage hippocampal neurons and impair both the formation and subsequent recall of memories. This is a significant concern for students during intensive examination periods, where anxiety itself may become a barrier to effective learning. The second factor, and perhaps the more encouraging one, is what cognitive scientists call retrieval practice. The deliberate act of recalling stored information, as opposed to passively rereading notes, has been demonstrated in numerous controlled studies to produce significantly superior long-term retention. Retrieval practice forces the brain to reconstruct memories actively, thereby strengthening the very neural pathways that support future recall. In summary, memory formation is a dynamic and biologically intricate process that unfolds across multiple stages, from initial encoding through synaptic change, through consolidation during sleep, to permanent storage in the cortex. Understanding these mechanisms not only advances neuroscientific knowledge but carries profound practical implications for education, clinical therapy, and the treatment of memory disorders such as Alzheimer's disease. We will continue this discussion next week with an examination of the neuroscience of forgetting and what current research tells us about memory rehabilitation.
That is the end of Section 4. You now have some time to check your answers to Section 4. That is the end of the IELTS listening test. You now have some time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
Hey people, how was your test? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or you'll be missing out on some serious fun. See you tomorrow!